stood there small amongst the flames, village gone in sorrow's name, tears reflected in the sky, shattered dreams and whispers die. Ashes fill the air, memories lost in deep despair. She clutches dolls of vanished past in chaos where the shadows cast. Embers of yesterday burn the night away. Screams in silence stay lost in the fray. Her family taken by the storm, life twisted in a cruel form, no solace in the darkened glow.
Meanwhile, back in the construction dock, where exovals, upgrades and expansions were just beginning to get underway, the new crew of the exoval gathered with those chosen as commanders of the crews standing front and center. As the transport pad that Mika was standing on lowered her gently to the surface of the front area of the construction dock, there, with exoval's massive form filling the space. Behind her, Mika stepped forward to greet her crew.
Hello, it's nice to see that everyone is in attendance. By the looks of it, it seems that everyone showed up, which is good. The more the merrier, I say. I'm also glad to see that all of my picks for commanders showed up front and center. I was hoping to greet you all face to face before we got underway.
Mika said, as she began to approach the first of the members, who had formed a line in front of the rest of the crew. The first member in line was a man with dark black skin and foggy blue eyes, wearing a command. Uniform, of course, with a silver pen indicating his rank as first mate. The exceptionally sharp features of his face, framed by the somewhat statuesque appearance of his body, very tall individuals, standing about 6'3" easily, dwarfing over Mika.
So, you must be Dolos, my new first mate. You're a mosaic, correct?
Mika said, looking in his direction as she held the pad up, flipping through information.
Yes, I am a mosaic. However, I do not understand why this is relevant.
Yes, your people aren't much for idle chit-chat, are you? All things must have purpose, or at least that's what I've come to understand about your people. Or perhaps it's just a misconception. If it is, I'd love for you to enlighten me. It might save us some time. If there are no misconceptions going forward.
Mika said, looking up at the starward individual as he somewhat loomed over her, not by intention, but simply by sheer stature.
As you wish, my captain. I will give you a brief explanation. We of the Mosaic do not believe in frivolity or wasted effort. All things must have purpose. Purpose is the point of existence, and that which does not benefit one's purpose is therefore pointless, a waste of time, and not to be included within the purpose that you are wishing to fulfill.
Yeah, that does sound kind of similar to what I've heard.
Mika replied.
But does that mean that you don't have emotions or anything like that? Because it doesn't serve a purpose?
No.
The individual replied.
We of the Mosaic do have emotions. We are simply very effective at compartmentalization. Everything has its time, its place, and its purpose. The purpose of emotions is to connect to others. Connections to others are only meaningful in certain circumstances. During the course of duty, emotional connections to others will blind you, affect your decisions, hinder your judgment, and thus we compartmentalize. I do not attach any emotional value to my work or the actions that I perform. This allows me to be clear-minded and level-headed. But this does not mean that I do not feel love or compassion. I simply only use it when it serves a purpose. For example, the purpose of finding one's mate. In this task, emotions serve a purpose, a function, and therefore are useful within it. Is this understandable to you?
He said, saw an exceptionally stern look on his face, unflinching.
Yes, that'll do just fine. Thank you for the introduction, and it's nice to meet you, Dolos. I hope your term as my first mate will be long and fruitful.
As do I.
Dolos replied, as Mika began to step to the side, moving towards the next person in line, which happened to be Oscar.
Oh, hello, Oscar. My new chief engineer. I must say, you look like you've had better days.
Mika said, looking Oscar over, as he appeared to have fairly dark circles under his eyes. Looking half dead, but still present nonetheless.
Yes, I had a late night. An exceptionally late night. I, in fact, didn't get a wink of shut-eye. Maybe 5 minutes before everyone started gathering back up again. So quite frankly, I'm exhausted. But I showed up because it wouldn't be right to receive the rank of commander on board the ship and not appear on the first day. But after this, I'm planning on taking an exceptionally long nap. Oh, and here are the new schematics for the ship. Everything's been planned out, and the designs that you specified have been incorporated. For the construction process,
Oscar said, as he handed over a datapad that Mika took into her hand quickly.
Thank you for your hard work, Oscar. And after this meeting is done, you can go get yourself some well-needed sleep. I'm sorry to have pushed you, but necessity waits for no one.
Mika said, as she began stepping away, moving towards the next person in line. This individual seemed to be insectoid in nature, having what appeared to be an exoskeleton. Large wings, 4 of them, that fluttered about a bit. However, the wings did seem a bit tattered. If anyone was listening, they could actually hear small jerks and movements from the individual. Tweaks that would give off little clicks and pops as it moved. This movement, matching its appearance, very insect-like in nature, quick and sporadic. Movements, small ones here and there. That didn't really add up to much. Its head rapidly tilting and darting one way then the next.
Hello.
Mika said.
You must be Ricalia.
Yes, I am Ricalia.
The figure replied.
You're Debellion, correct?
Mika asked, as the figure gave another few twitches, and there was a flutter of its wings, as what seemed like small bits of material seemed to scatter off of the end, like torn bits of tissue paper.
Yes, Ricalia is Debellion.
That's a little unusual for Debellions to be out this far.
Mika said.
I'm a little curious about why you're all the way out here, but for this kind of record. As a medical doctor, I'll overlook it for the time being, and maybe we can just have a conversation later. For now, what's going on with your wings? Were you injured somehow? Are you sick?
Mika asked, looking at the small pieces of material still falling onto the floor.
No. Ricalia is in her shedding cycle. Do not worry, it is temporary. The process will be completed by tomorrow. It will not hinder this one's work.
Shedding, huh? Well, I hope it's not too hindering or uncomfortable. Is it bothersome at all?
Mika asked.
Oh yes, incredibly so. It itches like the dickens.
Ricalia said, with another flutter of her insectoid wings batting, of more tiny tissue paper like flicks of material.
But once again, it will not affect Ricalia. She will do her job promptly. All medical issues will be attended to swiftly. You have my assurances, Captain.
Well, thank you very much.
Mika replied.
And welcome aboard the crew.
Mika said, as she began to take a few more steps to the last person in line. Arms crossed and looking quite intimidating and imposing, mostly because of the sheer amount of muscle mass, if not the hardened spikes that seemed to protrude from segments of his body, some from the back, a few from the arms, all a jet black color, which seemed to tie in perfectly with the grey tone of his skin and foggy white eyes.
Well, you must be Obadal, my new head of security. You're a Rohausen, right? I heard that Rohausens are born and bred warriors. And looking at you, it definitely fits. I see you have a fairly extensive combat record.
Mika said, looking at him as she shifted through the datapad. It says here, you spent 3 years fighting in the Merrick Wars, in which time you were given 4 promotions, after which you spent another 6 years fighting as a member of the Bayrak Union.
That was a 3-planet coalition war, correct?
Yes, you're correct. And just so you know, I was on the winning side of both of those wars. So, picking me is a choice for victory. I might as well be a good luck charm, because everybody who picks me to be on their side seems to just keep winning. But then again, it's hard to not win when you've got Rohausen forces on your side. That's why I decided to go into the private sector, you might say. I wanted a fight that wasn't so one-sided. To be honest, I was highly enticed by your promise of excitement in the future. I'm hoping that it wasn't all just talk and that we're going to get to see some action on this ship. It's been a little bit too long since I've heard the sound of weapons fire waking me from my sleep. I'm itching to get back to it.
Yes, I heard that Rohausens believe that their home is the battlefield, that all other things are simply distractions. But not being comfortable unless you can hear gunfire is a bit much for me. I'm sure that we'll have our fair share of trouble throughout our travels, but I'm not going to go looking for it that much.
Mika said, as she stepped away, moving to the next person in line. This person being much shorter, even shorter than Mika's stature, despite him being a male. His light purple skin and dark black hair and telltale signs of his race, the MP.
Yes, and you're my new pilot, correct? Vermi.
Aye, Captain. Verme reporting for duty.
He said with a small salute in Mika's direction.
I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to getting behind the wheel. I can't wait to take this baby out for a test drive. See how she corners.
Actually, exoval is a he.
Mika replied.
She... Well, the ship can call itself whatever it wants, as long as it lets me fly. I'm used to being behind the controls. Your ship has its own sort of feel to it. You gotta know how to fly them individually. There are people who think that it's all just knowing the right buttons to push at the right times. Aren't just plain stupid. They don't understand what flying's really about. You gotta actually feel the vehicle you're traveling in. There's a sensation to it. It's not just buttons, it's tactile, emotional.
The short purple individual said, a smile on his face, as he rubbed his hands together but looking beyond Mika to exoval, hovering in the background.
She's a beauty! But I suppose piloting there will have to wait till these upgrades take place, right? I bet she'll have some maneuvering programs.
Yes,
Mika replied.
Well, regardless, I'm glad to see you're enthused about it. Based on your experience, I'd say that you are the best one for the job. But do me a favor and try not to get too excited. We do have a job to do, remember?
Yes, of course, Captain.
Vern replied, still smiling, but giving another salute and trying to stay a bit more focused.
Well, I suppose that finishes the primary introductions. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to speak to all of you individually. We have a bit too much of a time crunch for that. I hope to get to know all of you. But for the time being, we have work that needs done. From here on out, I'll leave you into the command of the commanding officers of your individual categories. They've all been given checklists and goals to accomplish, and you will work under them. We have a lot of work to do, people.
Mika said, looking out at the crowd of gathered faces.
So let's get to it. All commanders take control of your units. Begin facilitating the construction process.
Mika said, as she pointed to the commander units. As they all began to shout orders at the individuals working within their sections. And just like that, the entire crowd began to scatter about. All of them completing their own individual tasks, heading off in every direction. And just like that, everything was underway.